Hey guys, this is the mind of Lilith, and thank you for joining me today. I'm going to be sharing my thoughts about the Verzuz between Mario and Omarion that took place yesterday. First of all, I did not know this was happening. It kind of popped up on my social media feed out of the blue, and I was like, oh, that's really interesting because I never considered Omarion to be a singer. I consider him to be a dancer, performer type. The songs that Omarion is popular for became popular because of his music videos, not because of his voice. But let me start from the beginning. First of all, it took too long for the show to start. I live on the East Coast, and I don't have time to wait until 11:30 p.m. for a show to start because they're in Los Angeles. They need to start having more shows on the East Coast. That's number one. But number two, this Verzuz was so wonderful to me because it exposed the industry for what it is. A bunch of nepotism, a bunch of pay for play, a bunch of puppeteering, right? A bunch of people faking the funk, pretending to be black creators when they're just black puppets. And I'm not talking about Omarion necessarily because I feel like he was unevenly matched. This was not fair to him. When Omarion was singing against Mario, I thought about the episode of Martin when he was going against Tommy Hearns, right? And Martin got jealous in that episode because Tommy Hearns was flirting with Gina, whatever the case may be. And Martin had a little background in boxing, so he thought he could compete with Tommy Hearns, who was like a heavyweight champion at that time. So Martin got his ass lit up. This reminded me of Omarion. Who put this together? Why would they put Mario versus Omarion? Why didn't they put Omarion versus Neo or Omarion versus who else is in that time period that's like a teeny boppy dancer type but not really a singer? Chris Brown even, right? That would make a little bit more sense than Omarion and Mario. I think they were trying to play Mario. First of all, I remember Mario when I was in high school. This man's voice was always butter. His voice was butter when he was in high school. He was 14, 15 years old when his first hits came out. And I was like, he's 14, 15 years old. His voice sound like that? He had a very sexy, mature, grown, deep voice that I love in R&B artists. But let's start from the beginning. Okay. I think the set started with Ray J and Jeremiah. Not Jeremiah. He came on later and bombed. But Ray J, Pleasure P, Bobby Valentino, and some other guy with I forgot his name. I was like, are y'all serious? Are you serious right now? Oh, y'all serious? It was awful. It was a bunch of posturing and bragging, and these men were all struggling. One of them was okay. Bobby V had some great songs. I loved his music when he came out. But these men were struggling. They're not artists. These are beneficiaries of nepotism in the music industry, which has been taking place for a while now. Janet Jackson was a huge beneficiary of nepotism, in my opinion. She can dance her ass off in a sense. I guess she can dance. Okay, fine. She can dance, but she's not a singer. There's a difference between a singer and an entertainer. Rihanna is in the same category as Janet Jackson. Omarion is in the same category as Janet Jackson and Rihanna. Ciara is in the same category as Janet Jackson, Rihanna, and Omarion. There are people who are talented for singing, and there are people who are talented as entertainers. Okay, so this was awful. And then you have Ray J coming out singing this awful song that I've always hated. One Wish. When I heard this song 15, almost 20 years ago, I was like, this dude cannot sing at all. Why is he getting radio play? I hated this song with a passion from day one. I never liked it. So I'm like, how are these people getting put on like this? This whole pay-for-play industry, the reason why black music culture has deteriorated is because of nepotism and because of black music executives basically signing women that they actually want to sleep with, right? Shout out to L.A. Reid and Babyface, right? Even though Babyface and them, they put on Toni Braxton, one of the most prolific singers of our time, and I love her. She's a phenomenal singer. But a lot of times, these music executives and these label executives, they hire women or they sign women they want to have sex with. And what's her name? Drew Dixon talked about this in a documentary called On the Record. She talked about her time as a female A&R working at Def Jam, and she talked about the sexism in the industry and how women had to, do favors to get either signed or to get promoted. And so she's a Stanford graduate. She wasn't on that type of time. She really wanted to be rewarded for her work ethic, and she contributed a lot to the industry. But guess what? Russell Simmons ended up raping her anyway, because he saw her as a piece of meat and not someone who had a gift for attracting talent, for developing artists, for ideas. He only saw her for her body and not her mind. And so now people blame the, white people and Jews for the music industry being effed up in the black community. No, what happened was you had a lot of color-struck black men like L.A. Reid and Babyface, I keep mentioning those two, who would only sign artists that they were interested in having sex with. Right, Diddy with Cassie? All these whack-ass females who could barely sing, but they were cute, right? And they could carry a little tune. They were put on by these record executives who wanted to sleep with them. And now we have Omarion. There have been rumors about Omarion and, and what's his name? Marcus Houston and what's his name? Chris Stokes, okay? I'm not saying anything, but it is what it is, right? So now we have this industry that is being controlled by predators who want these up-and-coming aspiring artists to pay to get put on. Because to be a musician or a singer or dancer in the black community, that's a golden ticket out of poverty, right? So we have these poor black and brown kids coming from disenfranchised communities, desperate for an opportunity. And so these predators in the industry, they will hire you because they want to have sex with you. Not based on your talent, but based on what you're willing to do to get put on. Right, Cardi B? Right? So now you have people like Omarion, like Sierra, who can dance her ass off, but she's not a singer, like Cardi B, right? Like Rihanna, who have the best songwriters, the best producers, the best stylists, the best musicians. There's a whole team behind these people who are putting together this act, right? It's called an act for a reason. These people are acting like they're artists. Okay, gone are the days of Whitney Houston, who's also a beneficiary of nepotism. Yes, her mother was plugged into the industry and she was tied to the mafia like a lot of old school black artists were. But Whitney had actual talent. But then you have people who have marginal talent who are put on because they're related to Brandy, who are put on because they're related to Marcus Houston or Snoop Dogg, who are put on because they're, a friend of somebody they know. It's not about the talent anymore. It's about your associations, who you know and who you're willing to fuck. And Mario, with his fine behind, yes, he represented for Virgos yesterday. Mario represented, yes. He put the industry on blast by saying there's a difference between me and these cats over here, right? Omarion had to rely on gimmicks and costume changes and dancing and singing. And like I said, it's not his fault. This was not the proper venue for him. Okay? He should have been, singing against somebody who was a dancer too. Omarion is not known for his singing. I'm sorry. He's known for pop locking and moving his chest and sliding across the floor and dancing. And Mario should have been against someone like either Ro James or Luke James or even Neo, maybe. Or even Trey Songz, but not no Omarion. This was not fair to Omarion. This was a slaughter because they were unevenly yoked, right? And Omarion didn't seem unbothered yesterday. He seemed to feel some kind of way. And I don't blame him for that. It was embarrassing. Ray J was embarrassed too. So Ray J was struggling to sing One Wish. He was struggling. Started holding his baby as a cover for his weak, whack vocals that we've always known about for the past 20 years. But these people are so delusional, right? And they're so insulated in their Hollywood bubble that they think that we think they can actually sing until they actually have to do so. But I always knew he was whack and got put on by Nepotism and Brandy. I knew that already. I'm like, why is this dude popping like this? This song is horrible. So he started to sing with a struggle vocalist holding his adorable, beautiful baby as a cover. But he struggled so bad, right? he was trying to correct his vocals on the stage like he was in rehearsal. He kept singing the same line over and over and over again. You know how you in rehearsal and you get the tune wrong, right? And he kept singing the same thing over and over again, like trying to get the pitch right. You're supposed to do that rehearsal, not on stage. So he was so embarrassed, right, and exposed for being a fraud that he tried to blame his lack of talent on him holding his baby. No, nigga, you've always been whack. Just like Pleasure P has always been whack. Just like Omarion has always not been a good singer. I'm not saying he's whack like that. He's talented, but Ray J can't dance either. Omarion at least tries. Omarion knows what his strengths are. His strength is his dancing. Ciara knows her strength is her dancing. Janet Jackson knows her strength is her dancing, right? And so this is what it is. Okay? You have a bunch of people who know people in the industry that get put on because they can be marketable and packaged, just like Cardi B, just like Rihanna, and just like people are finding out about Beyonce. Oops, Beyonce. Beyonce can sing. She can sing. Technically, she can sing, but her instrument isn't that pretty to me. Her voice is not all that. Sorry. She doesn't have the soulful tone that I prefer in my R&B artists, like a Toni Braxton or Anita Baker or Whitney Houston or a Phyllis Hyman even. She sounds like a black pop artist, like Michael Jackson, who also had struggle vocals, in my opinion, too. Yes, they were talented entertainers. They worked their asses off. But there's a difference between Marvin Gaye, who has a light tone, right? And Omarion, who has a light tone for other reasons. What happened in the industry, in my opinion, was that they started to lean towards pop music. Black people wanted to cross over into pop culture, which means they wanted white people to be able to sing their songs, because white people can't sing songs by Teddy Pendergrass. They can't sing songs by James Brown, but they can sing songs by Marvin Gaye, and they can sing songs by Chris Brown and Omarion, right? So the complexity and the sophistication of black music was deteriorated because we wanted to go pop. So we wanted to go pop. We started, this is why Whitney Houston got booed initially, because she left her gospel, soul, R&B roots in a sense to become more of a pop artist, which garnered her the massive popularity, fame, wealth, and success that Michael Jackson also enjoyed, who went pop, right? So a lot of these black artists, they don't want to be on the chitlin circuit in a sense. They don't want to just go to black venues that don't have as much money, because black people don't have as much economic power. So they want to appeal to the masses of white folks who have the disposable income to spend on concert tickets. Okay, so they want their music to appeal to those people, and so they change their voices and the tonality of their voices and the complexity in as far as the singing style in order to appeal to these white people who are not, they don't have the same swag in that area. Traditionally, they don't. There are some white soul artists now who are supposedly coming up, but they, Adele doesn't, hold the candle to, what's her name? Jasmine Sullivan. Sorry. She doesn't. She's not horrible. It's just that she does not. Amy Winehouse came fairly close. But, Jasmine Sullivan is that girl for a reason. And she hasn't gone mainstream in a sense because she stayed in the R&B lane, which is fine, right? But what Mario and his sexy self exposed yesterday was that, yeah, we're not built the same, bruh. We're on the same stage, but, I had to get it out the mud. And that's what he said. The funniest part to me was when Tank came out. I don't know who invited him out, but Tank came out. And then he started singing to help Omarion. And then Mario said, I bet these two niggas are going to start singing to each other, watch. And he walked away. He said it so matter-of-factly because it was such a Hollywood thing to do. I'm sorry. Let me say this again. Mario said when Tank came out, I bet these two niggas are going to start singing to each other, watch. And he smirked and walked away. Like he was sick of it. And he was disgusted. Mario seemed disgusted and insulted at being on the stage with Omarion, right? And like I said, he has a lot of demons. You can tell he has some stuff going on with him. He has a very dangerous dark side to him that I can see. And he, grew up in a very difficult situation with his mother. His mother passed a few years ago from drug overdose. I remember him saying that he had some sort of sex addiction, something like that. He had a lot of demons he had to deal with, because he went from being popping to like disappearing for like over a decade, he said. And then in his place, they put Neo, they put Trey Songz, they put Omarion, they put Chris Brown when he kind of fell back and was dealing with some personal issues that was taken away from his artistry. When you're a real artist, you don't just put out music because of the label. You have to feel what you're doing. Omarion is a real singer. Okay? He's a real singer. He doesn't have to do the dancing and shit. Yes, he did a couple dance videos, but that's not what he's selling. He's not selling costume changes. He's not selling outfits and dancing and, eating watermelon on the stage, simulating sex. How are you simulating cunnilingus on stage and you're supposed to be singing? That's somebody who doesn't have any talent to fall back on. Whitney Houston never had to do that. Teddy Pendergrass never had to do that. Marvin Gaye pulled down his pants on stage before he died, and then people was like, "You don't have to do that. You're not even at that level. Why would you denigrate yourself in that way?" So the stunts and the gimmicks by Omarion were embarrassing. They were high school. They revealed that he was not a strong singer. They should not have put those two together. It was unevenly matched. That was a slaughter for Omarion. I don't know who agreed to that and why they put them two together, but whoever Omarion's management is, they got to fall back. Something has to happen. That was not fair to Omarion. He's not a singer. I'm like, why would they put these two together? Yes, they came out at the same time, but Mario has more in common with a Ro James, who was like 38, 39, 40 maybe. But he came much later, but he has more in common with him vocally than he would Omarion. That makes no sense. Why would they do this? It's because of nepotism. It was a bunch of whack LA artists on that stage yesterday. A bunch of whack nepotism benefiting Hollywood insulated frauds on stage yesterday who've made millions of dollars selling bullshit to our people. That is what happened. I'm so happy that Mario exposed all these clowns. I was so happy to see. It was painful and irritating and funny to watch, Ray J struggle and Jeremiah. I'm like, Jeremiah, are you serious? This is how you see it right now? Oh, y'all serious? This is why I haven't listened to the radio in over 20 years. And that's facts. This is why I have not listened to mainstream radio in a long time, because of people like this. I remember coming up and listening to Rihanna and being unimpressed with her vocals. Yes, she's a pretty girl. She's a great model and a great prop for whatever they were trying to sell, but she's not singing. Ciara's not singing either. Neither is Carrie Hilson singing. Okay? Tiara Marie was all right. Keisha Cole was okay. She could sing, she can carry a note, but I didn't like her tone. So it was like a bunch of people who were put on by relatives or gang members or associations to people that it wasn't about talent no more. So now our music is trash. And now you have white people or Korean people imitating black music and getting more successful from our formula. The irony in this situation is that while black people or while the black record executives have invested less in developing black talent, they've invested more in developing Asian and white talent. That's the irony of this. Why is this happening? Is this deliberate? Are they deliberately trying to destroy black musical culture because it is a means of financial and economic development for our community? It's also a way for us to shape the minds of the collective and society through our music. Is that what's happening right now? Are these white record executives and these black record executives and, these A&R people, and are they deliberately trying to destroy black music culture? Because it's too powerful as a weapon against white supremacy and other forms of anti-black sentiments. Because black music has essentially shaped the minds of black America, period. So whatever denigrating ideas that the dominant society has espoused about black people, black music has presented a counter narrative to white supremacist doctrine, period. Our music has shaped the minds of America and the world. And we did it with no economic power. We did it with low social power. and no resources. So now what's happening, in my opinion, is that these traitors in the Black community who are pledged to these fraternities and sororities, right? These men who are initiated into these cults and these gangs and these institutions that have been put in place to undermine Black progress and development. I think they are deliberately destroying Black music culture, or trying to. They're trying to destroy Black creativity. And I mentioned this a few weeks ago in my other video about the wheel of time turning 30 degrees into the age of Aquarius. And the opposite polarity of Aquarius is Leo, which is the heart chakra. That's music and creativity. If they destroy that in our community, this is how they will maintain control over us for the next 2,000 years. So if they use Cardi B, right, to sing songs telling you to fuck, love, get money, get drunk, get high, right, your heart chakra closes off. And so whenever they want to enforce these bullshit laws that they're putting into place to control humanity, you will not have the courage, or you will not have the love within yourself to fight back. But that's another conversation. Yesterday, Mario exposed the music industry for being crap. Most of these artists are successful because they have, again, a whole team behind them, which is why they're always so broke, because they don't make nothing themselves. They're products. So you take Cardi B, who doesn't have any talent, right? You link her up with these great lyricists or songwriters, great production, stylists, money for plastic surgery, the whole illusion. The whole presentation is built for you. These are not artists. These are people trying to get a bag at the expense of Black culture. There's a reason why most of the Black male artists that have come about since 2001, 2, 3, they have these high-pitched teenage, teeny boppy, Chris Brown, Omarion voices. They don't sound like Teddy Pendergrass anymore, or Jaheim anymore, or what's his name, or Joe anymore, or even R. Kelly, for whatever his issues are. They don't sound like grown men. These sound like Justin Bieber, teenage, teeny boppy pop voices that have crossover appeal, because white men don't know how to sing like Teddy Pendergrass or Marvin Gaye for the most part. They know how to sing like Chris Brown. I mean, New Edition was you know, they were put together too. But you know, they could sing, right? But they were trendsetters, and they were the ones who started a whole new era of music. So they get props for that. But like I said, in the industry, they figured out the formula. Find somebody pretty or attractive with sex appeal, put a whole team behind them like Milli Vanilli had. Remember them? In the 80s, Milli Vanilli were these two attractive model guys who were lip syncing all their music, and then they got put on the spot, and you know, they had some issues afterwards. One of them committed suicide because of the humiliation. This is not uncommon in the industry, but they're disrespecting Black culture by doing this. And I would be disrespecting Black culture by listening to Ray J's music or Omarion's music. I would not buy any of their music. I've never bought any of their music. Never. As a matter of fact, I repurchased Mario's songs, his albums yesterday, because I haven't heard from him in a while. But I remember having his CDs back in the day when the CD players were still popping, before we had, you know, iPods and things like that in early 2000s. I bought his music. I love his voice. His tone is gorgeous. Beautiful tone, control, right? Sex appeal on top of that. No need to like sell himself. The voice speaks for itself. The tone speaks for itself. His instrument is gorgeous, period. But one thing, he was wearing a Scorpio chain yesterday while representing for Virgos. I think people get confused with the glyphs for Scorpio and Virgo. Virgo has a loop, and Scorpio has a stinger. Or an arrow at the bottom of the glyph. There's a reason why Scorpios and Virgos have very similar astrological glyphs. I'll get into that later. It's a very interesting story, but Scorpios and Virgos are, you know, have a very interesting story between the two signs, and they're very similar. I mentioned this before, very similar. But like I was saying, Mario, again, he exposed the industry. And like I said, when he was singing his songs, I was like, yo, I forgot how many dope hits he had. Because I haven't heard him on the radio in forever, and I don't listen to it anyway. But when I would listen to like the Breakfast Club on occasion to listen to an interview, I wouldn't hear any of his music. Like, they would keep playing the same tracks 15,000 times a freaking day because it's obviously payola. The mafia still runs the music industry just like it did when it stole Sam Cooke's publishing from him 60 years ago. This is not new here. So now we have, again, these black artists who are putting their cousins on and their homies on and their friends on who have marginal talent, and they're being exposed for having no clothes. I'm so happy this happened yesterday. I'm so happy because now I feel vindicated. For the past 15 years, I've been complaining about black music, and I've been called a hater. I've been called old, even though I'm just in my mid-30s, and I've been complaining about this since I was in my 20s. I was called this, that, and the third, whatever the case may be. I grew up on Motown. I grew up on house music. I grew up on Stax Records. I grew up on real soul music. So when I heard this bullshit that was popping off in the early 2000s, I was like, this is not appealing to me. It's bothering my ears. And these men sound like little teenage boys. That's why a lot of black girls are going toward the rappers, in my opinion, too, because they feel like the rappers have more swag and masculinity, in my opinion. These boys who sound like Chris Brown, they're cute and everything, but they don't have the same, I saw the comments for Omarion yesterday. Girls were fiending over him. They liked his masculine, alpha male, dominant BDE, deep voice energy. I'm sorry. It wasn't about height either. Because Omarion, all the girls were fawning over him, right? When they first saw him, oh, he's so cute. Him and his brother are so handsome, right? They were relying on their looks like females, like Rihanna and Ciara does. Not to say they're not good products. Ciara, she can dance, but she's not a singer. Rihanna, she can, sell stuff, but she's not a singer. Sorry. No hate. I'm just speaking facts. Like, if you listen to any of the OGs, they talked about how they felt about the music industry and how they felt like these women can't sing like that. These are not singers, like these are products. And, Patti LaBelle and Gladys Knight and, Aretha Franklin, they would complain, or they had comments about how these young girls can't sing like that. They can't sing, man. Black music used to be the gold standard for performance. Singing, dancing, everything. And now it's this bullshit with Ray J. Are you serious? That's embarrassing. That's an indictment on the industry, not necessarily Omarion. He's just a product, a tool that they used. He was trying to just make some money, just like Cardi B. This is not him. If he was really an artist, he would have worked on his singing craft. Just like Ray J. Instead of rehearsing on stage, singing the same line over and over again. If I had one wish, if I had one wish, if I had one wish. Over and over, trying to get the pitch right. You would be my boo. Promise to love you. If I had one wish. Are you serious? Are you serious? Trying to blame your child for not having no vocals. You never had no vocals. You was too busy being a player, right? Enjoying your undeserved financial success, which you only got because you're Brandy's brother, right? Brandy is very talented. Singing, dancing, acting. Brandy was like triple threat back in the day. Yes, I can't say nothing about her at all. She's probably top 5 best singer in R&B of this generation. Her, Monica, Beyonce can sing too. Okay. Jasmine Sullivan and, Summer Walker has a beautiful voice also. So there's some, I'm not hating on everybody. Everybody don't suck. Some people are naturally, genuinely gifted and talented. But Omarion wasn't one of them. Ray J ain't one of them. Jeremiah ain't one of them. So who do they fuck, or who do they know that put them on to put them as the face of black music? That's embarrassing and disrespectful to the legacy of black culture, of our ancestors who worked their asses off, coming out of slavery, coming out of Jim Crow, to create this industry that's revered and respected. Little Richard, Sam Cooke, Jackie Wilson, B.B. King, David Ruffin, right? Donny Hathaway, Marvin Gaye, Teddy Pendergrass, Al Green, okay? Jeffrey Osborne, come on now. But now we got Ray J. Are y'all serious? And I'm supposed to be okay with that? I'm glad they got put on blast. I'm so happy They got put on blast because now we have an opportunity to evaluate what happened. Why did they suck? Why did we allow these people who sucked so bad to become the face of Black music and Black culture for the past 20 years? Why do we even know Ray J? That's the problem. Why doesn't Mario have 15, 20, 30 Grammys like Beyonce does? What happened? Huh? Beyonce deserves 15, 20, 30 Grammys for real? She does? And Marvin Gaye only has one? Really? This payola BS is so obvious that I have absolutely no respect from the majority of Black artists these days. None. Most of them are, like I said, are beneficiaries of nepotism and the casting couch. Ashanti ain't that good of a singer neither. Okay? And neither is Maya. Maya's an exceptional entertainer, but she's not a singer. So now we gotta differentiate between apples and oranges. We can't put the Mayas in the same categories as the Phyllis Hymans or the Jasmine Sullivans or the Summer Walkers. We can't put those two together. That's not gonna work. Just like we need to stop fusing hip hop and R&B. We gotta stop doing that shit too. And we need to start bigging up these teams of people who are building these artists, right? The producers, the engineers, okay? The musicians, the songwriters, the stylists, the people who come up with the concepts. They need to be celebrated more for their artistry, not the puppets who are out here putting on the show, putting on an act. Because they're acting like they're artists and they're not. They're not. Sorry. I'm going to put it out there because I'm really sick of this. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of our culture being used as a weapon against us. I'm sick of people who are not interested in Black music just getting a bag at the expense of our people and how we're represented in the world. I'm sick of people like Cardi B being the faces of Black music and culture. We are far more talented than that. We go from Earth, Wind, and Fire, the Isley Brothers, the OJs, right? The Stylistics to what? To Ray J and Jeremiah? Are y'all serious? What an abomination. It's an abomination to Black music. All right, I'm done ranting. I look forward to reading your comments. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.